My blood tests look normal, but my body still feels backed up, foggy, and heavy. That sentence is more important than it sounds, because one of the most useful signals in your body may not be on your lab report at all. It may be in the bathroom, not in a dramatic way, not in a disgusting way, in a quiet daily pattern. How often you go, how hard it is, whether there is urgency, whether you bloat after meals, and whether your brain feels clearer or duller afterward. For the next 3 days, I want you to notice 5 things: frequency, form, urgency, bloating, and brain fog timing. That is the entire first test. If you go once every few days, if you need coffee just to trigger it, if your stomach expands after meals, or if your head feels clearer after you finally go, that is not just a bathroom problem. That is a transit signal. Stay with me here, because this is where people usually make the wrong mistake. They think digestion is a plumbing issue. Slow in, slow out. Fiber, water, move on. But the gut is not a pipe. It is a chemical reactor with a nervous system wrapped around it. When material sits too long in the colon, the microbial ecosystem changes what it feeds on. At first, microbes ferment fiber and produce compounds that generally support the gut lining. But when that easy fuel runs low, the system can shift toward protein fermentation, and that can generate metabolites your body has to process. That does not mean constipation is poisoning you every time it happens. Bodies are more resilient than that. But it does mean timing matters. A 2024 paper in Cell Reports Medicine, led by Johnson-Martínez and colleagues, looked at generally healthy adults and found that abnormal bowel movement frequency lined up with differences in the microbiome, blood metabolites, and markers connected with kidney and liver function. The most useful part was not the headline, it was the mechanism. The researchers described a kind of metabolic switch. In the more constipated pattern, the gut ecosystem leaned away from fiber fermentation and toward byproducts of protein fermentation, including indoxyl sulfate and related metabolites. So what does this mean for you today? Do not begin with a probiotic, begin with a pattern. For 3 days, write down whether you went, what the stool looked like using the Bristol stool scale, whether it floated or sank, whether there was urgency, and how your brain felt 2 hours later. You are not diagnosing yourself. You are learning the rhythm of a signal you probably ignored. Here's the second useful thing. The goal is not just more often. That is the trap. Some people hear this and think, I need to force one perfect bowel movement every morning. No. The better question is, does your pattern feel complete, regular, and low effort? Hard pellets, straining, a sense of not being finished, urgent loose stools, or a sudden change from your normal baseline are all different signals. Same room, different biology. This is why I dislike generic gut advice. Eat more fiber can be helpful, but it is not the whole map. If your transit is slow, fiber without enough fluid and movement can make you feel worse. If your stools are loose and urgent, more aggressive fiber may be the wrong first move. If your pattern changed suddenly, that is not a wellness puzzle, that is a reason to be more careful. Now comes the second complication, and this is the part most bathroom content on the internet misses. Your stool pattern is not only about the colon, it is also about bile. Bile is usually discussed as if it just digests fat, but bile acids also act like signaling molecules. They talk to the gut, liver, microbes, and metabolism. The gut microbiome modifies bile acids, and those modified bile acids can influence digestive rhythm, inflammation, glucose handling, and gut-brain communication. That is why the same symptom can have different meanings. A pale, greasy, floating pattern after fatty meals is not the same story as dry, hard stool every 3 days. Urgent loose stool after coffee is not the same story as bloating that builds all afternoon and only releases after a bowel movement. Same bathroom, different signal. This is the moment where the action map becomes simple. There are 3 layers. Layer 1 is transit. Are things moving too slowly, too quickly, or unpredictably? Layer 2 is fermentation. Are you feeding the microbes enough plant fiber, resistant starch, and food variety for them to make the compounds you actually want? Layer 3 is bile and rhythm. Are your meals, fat intake, stress, caffeine, and sleep timing creating a predictable digestive signal, or are you forcing your gut to improvise every day? If I were doing this with my own data, I would not change 10 things. I would run a clean 7-day audit. For 7 days, keep breakfast and caffeine timing consistent. Eat one real source of plant fiber daily: lentils, oats, beans, berries, chia, vegetables, or cooled potatoes and rice. Add water earlier in the day, not all at night. Walk 10 minutes after the largest meal, then track the bathroom signal, not your motivation. Then protect the experiment from noise. Do not start a new magnesium product, a new probiotic, a new fasting window, and a new workout plan in the same week. That is not self-knowledge, that is a fog machine. One lever, 1 week, one signal. If the pattern improves, you learn something. If it does not, you also learn something. Either way, you are no longer guessing blindly. No heroics. The reason this works is not magic. Movement stimulates gut motility. Fluids make the stool easier to move. Fermentable fibers feed microbes that produce short-chain fatty acids, which help maintain the gut environment. Regular meal timing helps coordinate digestive hormones and bile release. But there is a boundary. If you see blood, black or tar-like stool, unexplained weight loss, fever, persistent pain, vomiting, inability to pass gas, anemia, or a sudden change in bowel habits after midlife, do not treat that as a biohacking experiment. That belongs with a clinician. I am being direct about this because trust matters more than making a video sound exciting. You might be thinking, okay, but what about brain fog? Here is the careful answer. The gut-brain axis is real. The gut communicates with the brain through the immune system, the vagus nerve, hormones, microbial metabolites, and inflammation. A 2024 review in Signal Transduction and Targeted Therapy described that communication as bidirectional and deeply involved in neuroimmune function. But my gut caused my brain fog is too strong for most people. A better sentence is, my digestive pattern may be one signal that my nervous system, immune system, and metabolism are not recovering cleanly. That sentence is useful. It gives you something to test without turning every symptom into a diagnosis. So use the bathroom signal as a dashboard. If slow transit lines up with bloating, low mood, heavy mornings, and clearer thinking after a bowel movement, you have a pattern worth improving. If urgent loose stool lines up with coffee, stress, poor sleep, or high-fat meals, you have a different pattern. If floating or greasy stool appears repeatedly after fatty food, especially with weight loss or pain, that is not something to aestheticize. That is a medical signal. If everything is normal but you still feel foggy and inflamed, the bathroom is not the answer. It is one instrument in the orchestra. This is the final shift I want you to make. Stop asking whether your bathroom pattern is embarrassing. Ask what system it is reflecting. Transit tells you about timing. Form tells you about water, fiber, and motility. Urgency tells you about irritation or speed. Bloating tells you about fermentation and pressure. Brain fog timing tells you whether the symptom is traveling with the gut or only happening beside it. That is a different kind of self-awareness. Not obsessive, not anxious, just precise. For the next week, do not chase a perfect gut. Watch the signal. Change one layer at a time. Keep the changes boring enough that you can tell what actually worked, because your blood tests can be normal and your body can still be giving you data every morning. The bathroom is not the most glamorous signal. It may be one of the most honest.